Okay, so tips 1 through 3. We have selected our experience, right? We have learned a little bit about the faculty perspective in all of this, and then we've talked about what that actually looks like. But now what do you do? So you're ready, you've kind of looked like around the general idea of working with a faculty member. How do you put this into practice, right? So step 1, I always encourage students to visit faculty web pages, right? So these are a few of my colleagues in the College of Ed. Just looking at their web page, sometimes it will have an updated CV, sometimes it will have updated publications, sometimes not. But this gives you a general idea of who is here, right? Who is at this institution, especially if it's outside of your department, outside of your college. This is just an easy way to start looking. You can go to the College of Ed website, find the faculty page, wait for a while for it to load because it takes forever to load, at least right now, and then start clicking on faculty in different departments and reading about them. Okay, as I mentioned before, we're not always the best at having the most updated CV on our webpage. So what is always updated, for the most part, is Google Scholar. So just Googling faculty, once you've kind of said, oh, they research ed policy with a focus on child hunger, right? And healthcare and engaging families in schools, right? Okay, that sounds great. Let me Google Scholar this faculty member and see what they're publishing recently. Again, this is an emphasis on whose research agenda is currently active and is getting traction in the research community. This is the easiest way to see that for faculty. And then sometimes you might find their CV on like a different website, but if you just look at the most updated CV you can find, and you will find that they're different, their articles, book chapters, etc. One thing I'll just draw your attention to here is the publication section of the CV, right? So CVs can be like 20, 30 pages. Find where they are putting their journal articles, right? Find where they're putting even their presentations, because presentations tend to come before journal articles. And so that might be a way to gauge how active are they, what are they interested in, and what are they researching. Step 3, I know this is difficult, but polish your resume and CV. That is something you can send in an initial email to a faculty member expressing interest in what they're doing. And again, I understand what it's like to feel like I have no experience. Like, that's the whole point. It's like the cliche of like a job application asks for, like 5 years of experience, but it's an entry-level job, right? I feel you here, but it can be done. So I brought an example of my CV, right? I was like weirdly impressed with how much I was able to fluff this up a little bit when I was applying for positions, but you can do it. This is my undergraduate CV. It's like 3 pages, 4 pages. And I just talk about interests that I have in research, if I've been a part of any presentations or any other previous research experiences. But even if you don't have those, just having your major, even some of your relevant coursework that could be signaling to us, oh, this person is into, I don't know, like computer science. So that's helpful because I'm not a computer scientist. But maybe it's psychology or sociology, and I'm like, oh, so this person probably has unique disciplinary perspectives that can contribute to my research area on immigration enforcement, right? Something that I don't come from that sociological or psychological perspective. I come from the economist, like public policy perspective, and so working together could be really helpful in thinking about how do we frame the lit review, right? Think about what you can contribute and polish your CV and resume accordingly. And again, sounds like I'm beating a dead horse, but don't have typos, good spacing, it looks great, right? Ask somebody to look at it for you. Send that professional email, right? Step 4, don't overlook this either. Ask someone to read it, and yeah, address them as, I prefer to go by Jacob, but always just start out with Dr. last name or Professor last name, and then, take it from there. But sending a professional email can be really helpful, and as part of this, you can determine whether you want to send your CV along the way. If you have that kind of sales pitch and what you want to contribute to the process, that can be an easy artifact for us to look at very quickly. Then you will likely have an interview as part of this process. And so, of course, even though it's COVID times and we've all gotten more comfortable in our workspaces, be professional, right? So you don't necessarily have to wear a suit or fake glasses like sometimes I used to do in interviews. Just be professional and wear something that's appropriate, right? And just be in an appropriate setting with solid Wi-Fi and a decent background, or find a really fun Zoom background that Texas Tech has, or some other thing that even Zoom supports. And then finally, and this really isn't part of the gaining of the research experience, it's more of what's happening simultaneously, right? It's not that you are signing up for a one and done research experience, right? If you really like this stuff and you really want to continue to develop the skills, start to seek more internal and external opportunities. So 2 of the biggest fellowships for starting a PhD program, and I think even they're eligible for a master's program, but is the Ford Foundation's Fellowship and the National Science Foundation's Graduate Research Fellowship Program. These are 2 big fellowships that you're eligible for right out the gate. In fact, for NSF, you can apply once as an undergrad, as a senior, and then once when you're in grad school. So you get 2 opportunities to apply to it. So most people don't know that until you have to do some of that research, and hopefully you'll learn more about this stuff when you are in your research experience. But yeah, seek out these opportunities. And then of course, opportunities that TRU and other similar organizations on your campus hold, always look for that internal support as well. And then I throw my faculty or my personal labs website up, because there's also, you never know, like I said, if faculty have large grants or they have their own internal support that they know about, if they're in need of assistance, they often will sometimes also provide opportunities for you, whether that be support travel or pay you an hourly wage. So find those active faculty members who have some of those resources as you are a current undergraduate researcher, because then you think next steps, right? Like, you have more skills now, you can be perceived as having more skills, at least after having your first undergraduate research experience. So that is tips 1 through 4. That is the steps on how you go about taking your next steps. It's now time to talk about or revisit any questions you have about